It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, happy Wednesday. Glad to be back with you again in the studio today.
Per usual, happy to be here. Can't take it for granted. It's another day, which means another opportunity to make great things happen and to talk to the community. Tyler, let's get straight to it.
Yeah, a lot going on in the greater West Bloomfield community, as always. So many interesting things happening across West Bloomfield, Keiko Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, and Sylvan Lake, including this time of the year, Kevin, when it's so sunny and it's nice outside, and we're able to get out and about in our community with all of these different activities, all these different lakes to enjoy these activities on. Often people will go out to our lakes and maybe practice some yoga on the lake. But for those in the city of Sylvan Lake, some of those individuals are taking that a little bit more literally. Thais Leverett from our team has the story.
We're here at the beautiful Sylvan Lake this morning, where we are making waves quite literally with Luna Moon stand-up paddleboard yoga. Imagine combining the tranquility and the peacefulness of a yoga practice here on a beautiful, very serene lake to experience a very unique fitness challenge that helps you bring peace not only out here, but to your personal lives. Tell us what's different about this style of yoga versus some of the other styles people are familiar with.
Yes, most are in a studio, or most have come out and said, I've never even done yoga, and for some reason they've taken away the four walls being out here on the lake, and maybe it's psychology or something. I'm not sure what it is. If you're brand new to it, I gotta walk you through the whole routine, the whole steps. I gotta break down, some barriers as far as maybe some fears, and just start on the grass here with simple, just some questions. Get your paddle, size you up for your paddle, show you the board, tell you what to kind of expect, especially from launching here at the dock and that kind of thing. It is a little different than being at a beach. So we just want to make sure we get the safety aspect down. And then, once we're from there, then I get them out there on the water. And today is perfect for them to just kind of float and get some experience just on the board by themselves before they dock into the yoga pod. It may not look exactly as the same thing in the studio, your practice, but coming out here on the water, you get to connect with some other people that are usually like-minded and just want to be out here in nature and just taking it all in with the water.
It's a lot more challenging, and it takes what I love, which is my passion of the water, so it takes it to the next level. I practice yoga all winter long on a flat surface in a controlled environment, but then you come out here and you've got the sunshine and all the elements, not to mention the waves, so it really works your core. And it's a great way to be outside in Michigan during the summer, doing what you love.
I've been taking stand-up paddleboard yoga for a couple years now, and it's just really relaxing, really a great way to keep your balance, and work on balance. As we get older, I think that's really important. And it's just, it's so beautiful and it feels so good. Misty is has a very special spirit and is a very special person. And we like to joke around a lot, but it's kind of true that she is a real life mermaid. And she kind of exudes just this fun spirit. We every time we see each other, we go, "What's up?" Because sup, paddleboard, obviously.
And finally for you, one piece of advice. If somebody's brand new thinking about doing this course, what is one thing that you would tell them to be prepared for?
Be relaxed. Enjoy the fact that you're on the water. Dip your hand in, dip your foot in. Don't be scared to get wet. I mean, if you fall in, which is for most people unlikely to happen, but if you do fall in, people love it. They're thrilled that they fell in. It feels good. Other people then want to fall in. So anyway you do it, whether you stay up on the board the whole time or you fall in, it's fun, relaxing, and really joyful.
What an amazing experience this morning today at Sylvan Lake of tranquility and camaraderie with Luna Moon stand-up paddleboard yoga. So if you are ready to find your balance, please head over to the website and sign up for your first class. This is Civic Center TV, and I'm Thais Leverett.
Appreciate the report, Thais, and of course we can always view that if you're just tuning in on civiccentertv.com on demand. Kevin, really interesting stuff happening on the lake out in Sylvan Lake, taking a growing love of our community in yoga. So many people participating in these classes in our local yoga studios or out in the park with Kiko Harbor Parks and Recreation, and now also on the water, quite literally, on Sylvan Lake.
That's what we are all about here in the greater West Bloomfield area, and I'm learning that more and more. Physical activity, and that's another way to promote it and a different way to do it. You see different people say, you know, they do yoga, but now doing it on the water is combining two things they love, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. And plus, I like to say this too, we are winding down in the summertime. Let's just be honest. So just enjoy as many outside summer events as you possibly can. So great event I see out there.
Yeah, great story from Thais, and appreciate that report. Great to see so many smiling faces, having a good time, facing a little bit of a challenge out there on Sylvan Lake. Close to home in West Bloomfield, unfortunately, on Tuesday night, a home caught fire just before 9:30 in the area of Bay Drive and Alden. That's on the northwest side of our four communities here in greater West Bloomfield. It prompted a response from all 6 of our West Bloomfield Fire Department stations with firefighters and paramedics. They arrived on the scene, were able to locate the fire in the home's garage and isolate it there, keep it from spreading further out into the home. In addition, Kevin, some good news on that. The family's cats and kittens also rescued from the home and were unharmed during the fire. At this time, the fire remains under investigation. We contacted the fire department for comment this morning, and all of their inspectors and their marshals were out on scene to participate in that or in other investigations. Kevin, here perhaps is the difference maker in this scenario from what the fire department reported on their Facebook page late last night. The door to the garage to the rest of the home, the door from the garage to the rest of the home in this case was closed. That helped to prevent that fire that at the time was isolated in the garage but was growing in the garage from spreading into the rest of the home or funneling smoke into the rest of the home as well, which prompted a question from the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Do you sleep with your bedroom door opened or closed? What do you do?
That's interesting. I always keep my doors open. I keep all of my doors open, just, you know, because I have a son too. I have a little one, so I usually like to listen for him in the other room, but I never thought about that. Tyler, that's interesting.
I usually leave my door a little bit cracked open, let some air flow in, especially if it's a warmer night and I'm running the one AC unit in my home to keep it temperate overnight. Then I'll leave the door open. But now this is making me start to question whether or not that's the best decision. In fact, the fire department suggesting that when you are sleeping, your bedroom doors should always be closed. For this very reason, if there's a fire that breaks out in your home, it's less likely to spread into your bedroom or funnel smoke into your bedroom while an incident is occurring, what will keep you safer and potentially even save your life. Of course, they also suggested at this time that if people haven't done so, they check in on their smoke detectors and their CO2 alarms in their homes, make sure they are working properly, they're functioning well. They have up-to-date batteries or they need to be replaced, that they are replaced. Those also can help to save lives. More advice from the West Bloomfield Fire Department and more information and updates on this fire in West Bloomfield can be found on facebook.com/WB Fire Department. Or of course you can contact them for even more helpful tips and tricks, wbtownship.org, and navigate to the fire department page. Kevin, if people want to get involved here in our community, a great way to do that and to help the next generation is to get involved with the West Bloomfield Robotics Program, a very, very big and growing program doing great things across all of our schools.
They're currently saying middle school robotics coaches are needed to help mentor and support middle school robotics team members in their first season. It's going to be the first tech challenge that they're trying to prepare the team for. Now, that's basically a robotics competition for basically middle school age, or I should say middle through high school, 7th through 12th graders. But it's a head-to-head competition in designing, building, and even programming a robot at such a young age. So they're looking for coaches for the robotics team for the middle school, which will specifically be between grades 6 and 8. That's at the West Bloomfield Middle School, by the way. They're looking for those coaches. So if you are interested, please give it your best shot. Find out more information on their Facebook, West Bloomfield Schools on Facebook. Very, very unique and great opportunity for anyone who is interested, Tyler.
And some impressive kids involved in these programs, too, from a young age. Even elementary school kids are in the robotics program. They go on to middle school. They start to advance more and more and more. And they do such impressive stuff that, you know, look, I know I wasn't capable of doing as a middle schooler, and, you know, probably wouldn't have been capable of doing as a high schooler, as a college student, or even now. And they're doing it at that young age. Need some coaching from experts across our community. A great way to get involved, volunteer, and help out the next generation. Kevin, an interesting question for people across the greater West Bloomfield area. What is the oldest property in greater West Bloomfield? Of course, there's been many that have been around since the early days of our community, maybe been renovated over the years. So it's an interesting question to bring up. Perhaps the answer may be Carner Farm in West Bloomfield. This is a West Bloomfield Parks property, one of their 13 locations, and dates back to before the Civil War. It still features relics of our past, but also features some of the township's favorite amenities, including its dog park, including the community garden that people can sign up for each and every year, and even beehives are on site in partnership with Bees in the D. A great post from our friends over at West Bloomfield Parks on their Facebook page, acknowledging this great asset to our community. Facebook.com/WBParks to learn more and to see all those pictures online. Or, of course, you can learn more about everything happening at Carner Farm on WBParks.org. Kevin, perhaps the oldest place you can visit in the greater West Bloomfield area.
That's very, very interesting and unique also. You had me at, they also have beehives there. That's nothing I'm actually looking to go towards, to be honest with you, but with the help of professionals, it does seem actually very, very interesting to kind of get close to. So yeah, great information and knowledge there about one of the oldest properties right here in our community, Tyler.
Yeah, pleasant look back at perhaps the oldest property in West Bloomfield Township. And now let's take a look forward. Perhaps the newest property in West Bloomfield. A lot of excitement on Orchard Lake Road, as a lot of people will be moving into our community and one of the most premier new apartment complexes in the greater West Bloomfield area. The Apex is soon to bring in new residents in 212 brand new 2- and 3-bedroom luxury apartments on the boulevard on Orchard Lake Road. Joining us now on the program from the Apex Apartments is Omar Eid to tell us even more. Omar, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on, as this has been a project that's been ongoing. It's years in the making. A lot of planning and execution went into it, and now it's almost time for these apartments to be open. Give us an update on the progress of the Apex.
So we'll be ready to open 1st of August. So a lot of movement happening on site right now, getting ready for our first renters to move in right at the beginning of next month.
And so as this was all coming together, what was the vision for this luxury apartment complex, and what sets that vision apart from other similar properties in the Oakland County area?
Sure. So, I mean, I think when we started the design and really just thinking through the project from the start, I think the goal was to really set the standard for premier rental living in Metro Detroit, and just giving residents the highest quality of finishes, amenities, and service available in the market. And so, you know, we're offering 212 units comprised of 1-, 2-, and 3-bedroom units. And on top of that, we're also offering those types of units with dens, which are, you know, not very common in this market. So if you have a 1-bedroom, you can also look at a 1-bedroom with a den, or a 2-bedroom with a den, or a 3-bedroom with a den. And I think that's really critical right now because people want additional space. They may not need a full additional bedroom, but they want a place to work from home or work out from home, or just have an additional setting just to relax. So that's something that really sets us apart. On top of that, just having first-class property management, first-class hospitality, that's something we really thrive for, to ensure that our residents are getting the best care and needs that they need.
Omar Eid is with us, partner and vice president of development at Hunter Pasture Homes, which helped to develop the Apex located on Orchard Lake Road. And from our research and our notes, you had some experience with developments in New York. How did that play into putting this development together right here in West Bloomfield?
Yeah, so I was in New York for almost 7 years. I was working for a high-end developer, building out commercial office. This was pre-pandemic, so office was a hot market in New York City. And really just focusing on build-outs for private equity firms, hedge funds, family offices, high-end restaurants, and retail. And a really, really important component of that was just real thoughtful attention to design and detail. Those were really critical. I think that it was important to carry over that experience into multifamily in this region.
And just to take a step back to beginning this process of developing the Apex apartments. Now they're going in on Orchard Lake Road. They're soon to open in our community. And we know Hunter Pastures developed other more traditional residential homes in the greater West Bloomfield area in years past. But for an apartment complex, why did they consider West Bloomfield, and especially on that location on Orchard Lake Road, to be an ideal place to put this new complex in?
So, I mean, I think the Orchard Lake corridor is a perfect place for a community like the Apex. You have everyday amenities just a stone's throw away, whether it's, premier stores and restaurants. You have Plum Market, Whole Foods, Home Depot. You have great restaurants like J. Alexander's, Stage Deli, Redco, Prime 29, Starbucks. And you have outstanding professional health care as well, with Henry Ford Hospital being less than 10 minutes away from the Apex. You're also, only 25-minute drive from Detroit, and then under 20 minutes from downtown Birmingham. So we think that it's centrally located and you have everyday amenities just around the corner. So it's really just the perfect location for this type of community.
Omar Eid is with us from Hunter Pasture Homes on today's edition of The Splash Live as they get set to open the Apex Apartments, a new luxury apartment complex on Orchard Lake Road in West Bloomfield Township. And Omar, this is quite a significant change for that Orchard Lake Road corridor. It's been a lot of businesses in the past, car dealerships in the past, some natural landscapes and areas, shopping malls, and now you're not the only apartment complex that's moving in on that stretch of Orchard Lake Road. And so a lot of residents that come through the area, they think, okay, this is a major change because now it's bigger buildings. It's a little bit less of the natural landscapes that were previously behind those properties of the past. So how did you incorporate those natural landscapes and surroundings into this to keep that element that's so important to people in West Bloomfield and this property?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, on the farthest west end of the community, you have great scenic woodlands surrounding those units. We also retained, an award-winning landscape architecture firm in Grissom Metz to do all the landscape design on the building, throughout the ground floor and the 20,000 square foot amenity deck. So we're planting over 130 trees on the ground floor and over 1,000 shrubs and natural plantings. And then on that amenity deck, there's great landscaping area there just to really incorporate a nice green buffer because of its proximity into Orchard Lake. I think that residents are really going to enjoy and take advantage of all the natural landscape that's incorporated into this community.
And we know people want to move in to greater West Bloomfield. They want to be in West Bloomfield Township. And so as they're considering their options, why should they consider this apartment complex as one of those top options maybe, or the place that they ultimately go if they move to West Bloomfield?
Well, I mean, it's highly amenitized and there's high quality finishes throughout the entire building, whether it's within your unit or in any of the common areas in our amenities. I mean, we have an outstanding pool deck with outdoor lounges and fire pits. We have club rooms. We have a state-of-the-art fitness center that I think competes with places like the Equinox. You have a great coffee bar, private dining, chef's kitchen, dog washing stations, EV charging. You have a resident app that you get once you move in that makes it extremely convenient to do anything from paying rent to getting your renter's insurance to putting in a maintenance request to getting your groceries delivered to your unit, getting food delivered, getting a dog walker. It really just kind of covers everything that you would think of to really just enhance your living experience within the Apex.
Omar Eid is with us from Hunter Pasture, the developer behind the Apex Apartments, now located on Orchard Lake Road, set to open very soon and currently accepting applications as well. Omar, as you considered this, you mentioned some of the reasons why you ultimately developed this property on Orchard Lake Road and in West Bloomfield. But what about West Bloomfield do you believe is ultimately what is drawing people to this community and ultimately creating that need for some of these new apartment complexes like yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people that really love West Bloomfield community. And I think that we're providing kind of an offering where maybe there's someone that is an empty nester, they're snowbirds, they've had a home for, decades in the area and they're looking to downsize. Well, we're really providing a new type of living community that makes it easy on them while they don't have to move and look at buying a smaller home. They'll have this option to kind of have a more convenient lifestyle still within the area.
More information on the Apex Apartments and including application information if you are interested in moving in can be found on theapexwb.com. Again, that is theapexwb.com. Omar Eid is with us, Vice President of Development and partner at Hunter Pasture, who developed this apartment complex right here in West Bloomfield. Omar, before we let you go, anything else that you think would be important for our audience to know about the way that this development came together, why this is such a special moment for us here in West Bloomfield as these get set to bring in some of our new neighbors?
I just think that it took years to really design and come up with the best programming, aesthetics, really just putting our shoes in our resident, putting our feet in our residents' shoes to really just make sure that we're thinking of every single component and aspect to enhance the living experience for our residents. We're going to have a lot of community engagement through our building with our property management team, coming up with ways to promote resident interaction and engagement, whether it's having a pool party on our pool deck, different special events for holidays or anything happening related to sports or different other types of activities in the area. I think, we're going to have wine tastings, ice cream, socials, pool parties, all these different things that really kind of bring together the community, aside from just really enjoying all the other great amenities that this property has to offer.
One-bedroom apartments from 673 square feet to three-bedroom, 2.5 bath, up to 1,924 square feet available right now as we speak at the Apex in West Bloomfield. Omar, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate having you on. Great to get that insight from Omar Eid with Hunter Pasture, who developed this apartment complex, and you can see even more information. See the pictures, continue to get updates on the development, see some of the floor plans, and learn about this new attraction here in our community in West Bloomfield on the apexwb.com. Kevin, really cool stuff that's going in there on the boulevard on Orchard Lake Road as we start to see that vision that all those years ago with the town center complex and turning Orchard Lake into a boulevard, starting to see that come together.
I was looking at the pictures online while we were doing the interview, and I was just checking out the price. The prices aren't bad. For what they're offering, the prices are not bad. I just want to start off by saying that. But also, like, incorporating the landscape, planting the natural trees and the shrubs around there, and the space that they give you inside with a den, that is kind of crazy. So I'm excited for it to open up. I'm hoping to at least take a tour just to look inside. But another great addition to the West Bloomfield community, Tyler.
Yeah, we showed you some of that video earlier on. They're still making some progress on that, putting the final touches on it, but move-in for those properties will begin as early as the first couple weeks of August for some of those apartments in that complex as they continue to put the final touches on what looks to be a beautiful building there on Orchard Lake Road. You can see on your screen right now some of that video as well, and our Jake Schaff, we want to credit him for going out and getting that in our community. So we'll welcome in some new neighbors in our area, Kevin. Some that have been around the greater West Bloomfield area for a while are getting together on a regular basis and celebrating one of our most cherished communities within greater West Bloomfield, that being, of course, our veterans.
Exactly. I was just going to say, our veterans, the ones that served our country and that put their lives on the line and still here, right here in our own community. It was actually a few residents of Sylvan Lake who came together and formed an event for our veterans to come together and have a safe space. And that was Helen Jane Peters, Pete Peters, and Greg Miller. And they all joined us here on The Splash, which I do appreciate. Just to start off, Helen Jane, can you just first tell us what inspired you and your husband, Pete, to kind of even invite the veterans over for this event during the month?
Well, this has been going on since May of 2022, right, Greg? And I think it was Kathy Robbins and Greg Miller's idea to get the veterans together for coffee and just talk and share their experiences from being in the service. So different residents take turns doing this over the course of the year. And it's always nice to do it in July, which is a very patriotic month. And we were planning to be outside and on our deck. And Mother Nature had different plans for us. So we ended up being in our dining room.
That's very, very... Oh, go ahead. Please continue.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's very, very welcoming of you all to welcome everyone inside your home, especially during, that event with the weather happening at the time. But that just goes to show the hospitality that you all have. Greg, I have a question for you, just kind of leading off. Can you just talk about the branch of military that you served in first and foremost?
So I was in the Navy, 75 through 79, stationed on USS Truckee out of Norfolk. So we have all branches represented in the meeting, and we get a chance to share our own stories, and there's not a whole lot of other opportunities for a lot of the veterans to share their stories with other people that can kind of understand what they went through and may have similar, oh yeah, I've been to that base, or I've been in that theater, and I was in the same branch, and we had similar experiences. So that's really good. Pete was in the Coast Guard too, so he represents the Coast Guard.
Okay.
And just one thing I wanted to add is that Kelly Krause is also very instrumental in this our having our monthly meetings. She helps to coordinate the locations for us, and it includes also our community center and some local businesses too.
Yes.
The Evolve and the Grill.
Yes, and we're very familiar with Kelly Krause also, so thank you for her help as well. And join us right here on The Splash Live, Helen Jane Peters, Pete Peters, and Greg Miller, some veterans in the Sylvan Lake area talking about their veterans meeting that they recently hosted in the area. Now, Greg, just getting back to you, what do you find most valuable about these meetings being a veteran?
So, like I mentioned, that it's an opportunity for us to get together with other veterans that, there's no really other opportunity to do that throughout, our course of our daily comings and goings, and just hear each other's stories. And also, if anybody is having trouble dealing with the labyrinth of the VA and needs to know how to get assistance, that information is there. Yesterday, Helen Jane shared a story about the Oakland County has a free ride service through the end of August for veterans. That it turns out we don't really need it. Maybe Pete can take advantage of it, but that there are opportunities that are presented to us, and we can share that at the meetings. Great
point right there. Yes, just in case other people aren't aware of it, or they don't necessarily listen or watch the same channels that everyone else does, and they do need that help and that resources. Great point that you brought up. Pete, I want to get to you real quick. being a veteran of the Coast Guard, like we just heard, what do you enjoy most about these veteran meetings yourself, Pete?
Well, we had a lot of opportunities to get out
On the Detroit River.
Detroit River, and it was something that I wanted to make sure was going to happen, and we did it. So.
Nice. I'm so glad to see that you all are creating that safe, common ground space for our veterans. And first and foremost, thank you both for your services to this country. I don't want to leave this without at least saying that. But thank you again for joining us and continuing. Helen, just getting back to you, how do you feel these meetings benefit veterans like Pete in the community?
Well, they can share their story. And as Greg said, it's not often a place where, it's not often that they get together and share what happened to them. I just overheard yesterday one of the men say they thought they were on their way home in the airplane and they turned around and took them back. And
They've been extended.
His tour was extended.
Wow.
Here they were on their way home, and that would, ooh.
Wow.
The pilot said, it's not my fault. The picture you just showed was from last year here at Helen Jane's and Pete's porch, that picture there.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
that's here.
Interesting.
Or is that a Kelly?
That's
okay.
a Kelly's.
Okay.
Anyway.
Very similar decks overlooking the lake, and it's very Sylvan Lake type of environment that we love. Yep.
So, Greg, I want to ask you real quick also, being a veteran, what additional support or resource do you think would be beneficial for veterans groups and its members?
So for our group, we don't have a lot of need. However, Kelly, like we were saying, has gotten businesses to host us also. And so for Sylvan Lake or anybody who's interested in supporting the veterans, by supporting the restaurants or locations businesses that support us, by supporting them, it helps just keep the cycle going, and everybody is kind of contributing to each other, and it's just a good thing for the whole community as a whole. And that's what, as veterans, we want to be contributing and be a part of and helping the community. And to answer one of your earlier questions, just to expound just a bit, that we talk about the influence that we can have. Military service is not looked on as a career opportunity, or at least an opportunity to take advantage of the GI Bill, get college, pay for college. That's one of my motivations at the time. But you're thrown in with kids from all over the country and into the service of something greater than yourself or the country. That is a lifelong lesson, along with, all the, do what you say you're going to do and be responsible and things that are all good messages for us all. So, one of the benefits of being in the military, besides serving your country, So, yeah.
No, well said, and I'm glad you said it yourself, sir. You put it into great perspective for us. Helen, just getting back to you, being a historian and resident of Sylvan Lake, how do you feel like events like this, the grassroots of it, actually speaks to what Sylvan Lake, the community itself, is all about?
Well, Sylvan Lake is the most friendly walker community in Oakland County, probably. We're the prettiest little city in the state of Michigan. We root for that. Anyway, it just brings people together, and they feel comfortable together because they know each other from being neighbors. But yesterday we had maybe 3 new people that I didn't know before. And it is open to any veterans that live in the area that can get here. And next time it's going to be at the Marina's house on Ferndale. And after that, it's going to be at Evolve in Kiko. So we do move around, and we, Sylvan Lake is, there they are at.
That's Evolve, I
That's
believe.
Evolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see the veterans there, and probably in the wintertime. And
Just a couple of months ago, it was a cold day, but.
Okay.
And actually, that was Bruce McIntyre is sitting across from next to me, who is Orchard Lake Mayor Pro Tem, I believe.
Okay.
Attends when he can make it too. Yeah.
Interesting. And for the people listening on 89.3 Lakes FM, those photos that we were referring to on CivicCenterTV.com if you are watching as well. We want to thank all of you for joining us on the Splash Live, and I want to praise you all for your advocacy for veterans in the community and getting them out to create, to be in that safe space. Once again, Pete Peters, Greg Miller, Helen Jane Peters, residents of Sylvan Lake and some veterans, thank you so much for your time for being here.
And thank you for your interest.
And it's a pleasure, an honor to speak with some local residents and veterans right here in Sylvan Lake who are actually, like we said, advocating and creating safe space for people who fought in the wars, people who fought for this country, and people who are still here with us. So we do appreciate them and thank them for their service again, Tyler.
Yeah, we do, and it's great that this has developed over the last few years. It began right around Memorial Day back in 2022, and it was just something that was, you know, a pop-up event around the Memorial Day holiday. Let's get some veterans together, get to know each other before we recognize this holiday, this solemn day for our veterans and for members of our service, of our military service across the country who are remembering those that have lost their lives. And then it grew into something that was really nice in Sylvan Lake, and they invite people in from neighboring communities as well to build this coalition of veterans of all different ages in our community. And we see those special moments, and we hear about them now from Helen Jane, from Pete, and from Greg, and from so many others that have joined us, like Kathy Robbins, over the years, to talk about the growth of this event in Sylvan Lake. Good to see that, and of course you can get more information on that and other events happening in the prettiest little city in Michigan on sylvanlake.org. Here in West Bloomfield, an unfortunate time for our community, especially for our Rotarians, as a titan of the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, Marion Sodich, recently passed away. And joining us to talk about the memory of Marion Sodich, her impact on our local Rotary Club, is Scott Loney and Renee Roberts from the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. Thank you both for being with us today.
Good morning, Tyler. It's
our pleasure.
To be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us as we remember someone who had a profound impact on the club that you both hold so near and dear. Scott, I'll start with you. As a member of the Rotary Club and as someone that's been active in this club for a number of years, what will be your memory of Marion Sodich?
Well, there are several. The first memory I have of Marion Sodich is when I joined the Rotary Club back in 2015. She was very welcoming, but she also made sure that I knew that the Rotary Club wasn't just looking for warm bodies to fill a seat at the Friday meeting. She wanted to know who I was, more about my background, and why I wanted to be a Rotarian. So, as I say, the West Bloomfield Rotary Club, if ever we had a protective mother, it was Marion Sodich. She wanted to make sure that the people were there for the right reasons. It was all about quality of membership rather than quantity. And she was the gatekeeper, a very gentle gatekeeper. She wasn't exclusive, but she wanted to know there you go. You're showing a picture of some of our friends. She wanted to know who we were and what we were about, and if we were worthy of being a Rotarian.
And Renee, that reflects really her vision and her husband Milton's vision for this club. They were longtime members of the Redford Rotary, and then when they moved to West Bloomfield, they began this club so many years ago. And as a founding member of this club, and as someone that's been a leader all the way up to her death at 95 years old, how does that speak to just her passion for service in our community and connecting those that want to serve?
Well, I would say she was 95 years young.
Yeah.
And one of my fellow Rotarians, Lori McVeigh, perhaps said it best. And she said she could not think of someone else that she would rather emulate than Marion. She was the epitome of service above self. And when her and her husband Milton started our club back in 1998, that was the beginning of a tremendous movement. Not only service to our community, but around the world. I don't know if you were aware, but in addition to founding the Rotary Club in 1998, she also founded the Interact Club, which is a group of young people from 12 to 18 who are gathering together to develop leadership skills and to serve the community and the world at large. And back in, it's been a couple of years now, Michigan Week, our Interact Club actually nominated Marion to be the recipient of the award, the Hidden Treasure, for the work that she had done with their local Interact Club.
And Renee, you said it earlier on, some of these different traits that people want to emulate in Marion from their time with her. And what were some of those that maybe you picked up or lessons you learned from her that you hope to emulate as you move forward in your life and you continue to have an impact on our local Rotarians and the greater community?
Well, I have always thought that her willingness to devote her time, her treasure, and her talent was certainly, worthy of emulating. And as we attended the celebration of her life yesterday, we heard that over and over from her family and friends, that she was very generous of all of those time, talent, and treasure, whether it be to the church that she was a member of for over 50 years, Refuge in Orchard Lake. There seemed to be no end to her well of giving.
And Scott, going back to you on this too, as we recognize the life of Marion Sodich, who passed away last week at 95 years old, a founding member of the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, as Renee said, a member for over 50 years of the church community at Our Lady of Refuge in West Bloomfield. Renee talked about so many different messages and so many positive memories and people celebrating Marion's life. So as you remember her, and as you and Renee and others attended that memorial, what do you believe was the message that came from Marion's life that we can all learn something from in Greater West Bloomfield?
Humility and persistence. You never heard Marion Sodich talk about herself or her accomplishments. She was just very persistent in continuing to do them. Every day was a new day. One of the things we heard at the memorial service yesterday from one of her grandchildren was Marion always told them to wake up and learn something new every day. And that's how she lived her life, and that's how she wanted her family to live live their lives. If I could share one memory,
Please.
It just so happens that when I was the president of the Rotary Club from 2017 to 2018, it was the 20th anniversary of the founding of the club, and I had the privilege of presiding over that event. Undeserved honor, but one that I took very seriously. We had a big party with a band at Steinway, at the Steinway studio over on 15 Mile Road. And we invited Rotarians from across the suburban area, presidents of the Rotary Club, members of the Rotary Club, other service clubs, and people showed up that I had never seen before, and I must say haven't seen since. For this event, we had more than we thought would show up. Very gratifying attendance, and of course, as the president of the club, I would stand there and greet people and say, "Hi, I'm Scott Loney. I'm the president of the Rotary Club," and they'd go, they would just push right past me and say, "Where's Marion?" I mean, it really became a celebration of Marion and Milton, her late husband, and the work they had done to ignite a sense of community service in West Bloomfield. It was very gratifying to see. And that really impressed upon me the impact she had on her community. I mean, people came from across the metropolitan area to see Marion Sodich and basically celebrate her accomplishment.
Renee, going back to you as we're joined by Renee Roberts and Scott Loney from the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. As we remember Marian Sadich, one of the founding members of this club, and we think about service above self, as you said earlier on in our discussion on her life and her legacy. Going forward with the Rotary Club, how do you believe that her memory and her impact will continue to influence this club for the years and the decades to come?
Well, as it turns out, Marian and her family have decided that all donations in lieu of flowers would go to the West Bloomfield Area Rotary Foundation. And so that legacy will continue on to allow us to do work here in our community and around the globe. Marian was one of the most positive people I have ever met. And she, even in her passing, she would want us to be positive, and certainly those donations to our foundation. You know, there is a heartache that, you know, it cannot be healed. She would want us to remember that the love that we have for service above self and Marian will give us memories that no one can steal.
Well, Renee, Scott, we want to thank you both for your time today as we remember Marian Sadich, and our thoughts are with you, with your club, and with the great community that has surrounded her for all these years because of the way that she's served our community and has made others a priority in her life. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Appreciate having both of you on the program today to remember Marian Sadich, who passed away last week at the age of 95, co-founder along with her husband Milton of the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. As Renee and Scott both mentioned, donations can be made to the West Bloomfield Area Rotary Foundation in Marian's memory, P.O. Box 252264 in West Bloomfield, zip code 48325. We will put that in the description of the video as we post this on our social media and on our website today in memory of Marian Sadich. CivicCenterTV.com. You'll see that. You'll get that address. They're also requesting any flowers sent do not contain lilies as well, as we remember Marian Sadich, who passed away at the age of 95. We'll take a quick break here on the Splash Live. Still more to get to, including some big anniversaries right next door to us at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. That and more coming up live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
In between.
Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at CivicCenterTV.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Hi, I am Steve Kaplan, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. I wish to congratulate Civic Center TV for reaching 1 million views on YouTube. Civic Center TV is very important to our community. I know many residents watch Civic Center TV. They receive engaging and interesting and informative program. Civic Center TV is one of the jewels in West Bloomfield. I am Steve Kaplan. I am proud to be 1 in a million.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Kevin McIntosh. A lot of big anniversaries in our community of late, including over at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, where book lovers have gotten together over the years to discuss some of their favorite reads right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Kevin, as we get ready to celebrate a massive anniversary for some of those activities, people are already planning on getting together at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library.
The Friends of the Library for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library celebrating 40 years of their book Talks event, and it's going to be a great celebration Thursday, August 8th at our local library. And with us right here on the Splash Live to talk more about it and promote it and get into details, we have member of the board of the Friends of the Library for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, as well as chair member for the Book Talks Committee. We have Diane Henderson. Thank you so much for being here, Diane. And can you just talk about how Book Talk started and evolved over the years?
I'll do my best with that. The truth is that as much as I've tried to get a detailed history, no one seems to know exactly how it started. I do know that George Keith was the primary and the only facilitator of the book talks for quite a number of years. And it wasn't until I got involved in 2005, when I went to my first one, that I thought, oh, this is cool. And in 2007, when I started being a facilitator, I found out nobody even had a list of all of the books and things that had been done. So I created that, and so that made me the historian. But unfortunately, my knowledge came from bits and scraps of paper and what we call the bookmarks when we publish our upcoming books.
Yeah, but you know what? I love you took initiative. You found interest in the event, in the organization. You saw something that was a need for a need, and you took the initiative to go there and start keeping record of things. I completely understand that, and that just preserves the accurate history of everything going on. 40 years, and we want it to be decades longer. So of course, I completely understand the reason why you did that. Now, in the years that you've done it so far, can you just talk about your favorite memory or experience so far?
Probably I have two favorite memories. One would be the very first book talk I ever went to. It was shortly after I'd moved back to Detroit, and one of the people who facilitated at that point was Sandra Sutherland, who had actually been my high school forensics teacher, and then we became good friends. And so she said, why don't you come to a book talk? And I went, and I was enchanted. I had never been in a book discussion before. I'm an avid reader. I've been an avid reader all my life. But this was back in 2005, and there wasn't a whole lot of book groups going on at that time. And then the second most memorable one is probably the one in 2007 when I did my very first book talk. And that was in 2007, it was, A Thousand Splendid Suns. And so that was, wow, it's not only cool to participate in one of these, it's even cooler to be one of the ones facilitating the conversation.
Interesting. Okay, I want to break that down a little bit more, but with us right now on the Splash Live, Diane Henderson, member of the board for the Friends of the Library and chair member for the Book Talks Committee for West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Can you just describe the scene? Like, how is this set up exactly? It seems like there's just one book, one host, person talking about it, and there's an open discussion. Can you just describe it a little bit more for us?
Yeah, we meet monthly at the library. We meet on Thursday nights and then again on Friday mornings. So we have two discussions of each book because there are folks who want to come at night and folks who want to come in the morning. And the person who's leading the discussion for that particular month does some background work, looking at reviews, getting discussion questions. And then we show up at the library and with a group of people that can range anywhere from 8 to 25. When it gets to 25, it gets a little chaotic, of course. But then we ask questions, talk about the book, and in the best circumstances, we get a great conversation going amongst the people who are sitting there in the room with us. We don't want it to be a class. We're not teaching the book. We're trying to have a discussion of the book.
I like that. It just seems like a comfortable, casual space where you can just come and meet like-minded people who are reading the same thing and you just get to share your thoughts. Sometimes you read something, you watch something, you consume something, you don't necessarily have someone else to talk about that with. So it just bounce perspectives off of. So I like that. I like that as a creative myself. How do you feel like book talks have impacted West Bloomfield, the West Bloomfield community and the reading culture in general here?
I think that one of the things I have to acknowledge is that the West Bloomfield Township Public Library is considered one of the leading libraries in the country. There aren't a whole lot of 5-star from the Library Journal. So West Bloomfield, the library exists in a community that has a real commitment to libraries and to reading. So it's a great community for something like this to happen. And it offers all of those avid readers in West Bloomfield a place to come and talk about books. And we try and focus on books that we think will give them a good conversation. Not every book is good for a book group or a conversation. What we're trying to do is to give all those avid readers in West Bloomfield a place to come, join other avid readers, and talk about books that people are reading. Sometimes they're current books, sometimes they're classics, sometimes they're ones that have been out for maybe 10 years that people hadn't seen. But let's delve deeper into books, you readers.
I get it 100%. And we are always advocates for reading a physical book more than anything. I mean, reading in general, but I'm always an advocate for physical books myself also, and audio books. I want to talk about your partnership. You have some relationships you all have with Schuler Books also locally, and I like that. That's local organizations working with local businesses. Can you just talk about how that partnership enhances the entire experience for participants?
It's a fabulous partnership. I think what we get from Schuler's is amazing. They sometimes bring in an author to the library. The Friends is generally involved in all of that, so that it gives readers in West Bloomfield the opportunity to meet some authors who are making the rounds. And they also, Schuler's also, it is good. They're donating books, for example, for door prizes at our upcoming anniversary party. They've donated 12 books, 4 copies of books, 3 copies of 4 books we're going to be doing this fall. And so what I think Schuler's gets back from us, which makes it a partnership, is that it then leads the people who are engaged with the Friends to go to a real, live, honest bookstore, Schuler's.
Bookstore,
and it's the not buying their stuff from Amazon. Sorry, not dissing Amazon, or buying stuff online. But it's let's go engage in a bookstore, because there's nothing quite like wandering through a bookstore and seeing books. I know they're dangerous places for me. I can go in looking for one book and leave with several.
That's a good problem to have, though. I love that. And I love that, like we said, we are encouraging people to go to libraries, go to bookstores, and, spend less time online and more time in line, in a store, behind somebody, buying an actual book. I get that right there. Hey, Diane, we got to kind of wrap up, but one last thing. The 40th anniversary celebration for Book Talks. Let's just talk about this event specifically, what makes it special, what people can expect, and things of that nature, please. August 8th.
I think what makes it special is for a library and a volunteer organization at that library to do something like this for 40 years. That's a moment in time that can't be ignored. So that's why we decided we have a party. And on Thursday night, it's basically a party. We're going to have a very short program. We want people to come in, enjoy the refreshments. There's going to be a video showing of, we hope, every book that we've ever done, all 335 different books. I doubt that we'll be able to get through all of them. And then have refreshments, and then have a conversation with other passionate readers who like to come to the library and who like to discuss books. So it's meant to be an anniversary party. Come and party with us.
We love that. Thank you again for your time, for talking about it, and for advocating for physical books. Once again, Diane Henderson, member of the board for the Friends of the Library, as well as chair member for the Book Talks Committee right here at West Bloomfield Township Public Library. We appreciate your time and information.
Thank you. I love doing it. Have a good day, Kevin. And
absolutely. You have a better one. Yeah. So we love once again to advocate for reading, our local libraries, our local bookstores, local businesses in general. So it gives local residents who are part of that reading culture a good safe space to come together and share their different ideas about different books. That'll be Thursday, August 8th, 6:30, 8:30 p.m. at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Great event right there to promote, Tyler.
And that's what the library is all about, getting people together to find those educational resources in our community, bring people together to socialize in our community as well, and all of that happening at the main library. Of course, so much else happening at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library as well can be found on wblib.org, on their Facebook page at West Bloom LIB, and of course by staying tuned right here on the Splash Live, where we'll keep you up to date on everything happening over there and across our community. Kevin, as people are going to the library for some of those educational resources, we're getting ready to go back to school, and those educational resources that our kids need on day one aren't always necessarily available to them. That's pencils, that's markers, that's notebooks, and even backpacks, maybe not as standard as they go back to school. And so Spirit of Grace Church is looking to bridge some of those gaps, doing a donation drive. It's ongoing as we speak. You can drop off Monday through Thursday between 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. or before their Sunday services. All these different items, they're hoping to fill 20 backpacks for girls and for boys before they go back to school, and that's just a few weeks away, so plenty of time to get those items into them. Their location, 2399 Figa Avenue in West Bloomfield. You can also learn more about them on spiritofgrace.church or Facebook at Spirit O' Grace. Plenty more going on in the greater West Bloomfield area all throughout the week. The place to go to learn about it, right here on the Splash Live. I want to give a big thank you to our entire team. Thais Leverett out in the field, Jake Schaff, Peyton Skyver, Calvin Brown, and Master Control, and of course, Kevin McIntosh alongside myself. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanking you for tuning in live, local, social. This is the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.